Ballard Designs. Welcome to my house in Atlanta. I'm Karen. Come on in.
Karen, thank you so much for having us here. Thrilled to be back at your house, but get to share it with our audience and for you to tell everyone about, the origin story and how it's evolved over the years.
The nitty gritty.
Yes.
Well, I'm happy to have you here, Caroline. You've been here many, many times, so you know all the ins and outs and all the stuff you can grill me about.
And I've been planning for years what questions to ask you just for this moment. So
I can't wait. This will be fun.
Start by telling everyone about the house, the neighborhood, what brought you here, and you renovated 13 years ago, as we were talking about before, but what made you want to invest and stay here for a while?
So this is a neighborhood in Atlanta that is an old neighborhood. It's mostly like 1920s bungalows. And so this house is about 100 years old, a little over 100 years old, but it's also a very walkable neighborhood. And so when we were house shopping, Joe and I, my husband is Joe, about 20 years ago, we definitely pinpointed this neighborhood and told our realtor we wanted to be within a quarter mile of the intersection of Virginia and Highland, and the neighborhood is called Virginia Highland. And so that's how we landed on this house in this neighborhood. At the time when we moved in, we were the youngest people on the street with young children. There weren't any children on the street, really. Now we're the old people, and there's tons of little kids running around and riding their bikes and their little puppies, and it's great. It's so fun, so much energy. So it's really lovely to see the neighborhood retain that same appeal that it had for us. So it's been a wonderful investment for us.
So when you renovated, what was it? What was the vision? What was it that you weren't getting that you felt like you needed to stay for a while?
When we moved in, so we're in the front of the house, the street's here, and there's 3 rooms here. There's a sunroom and a living room and a dining room, kitchen, and then there were 3 bedrooms. Joe is, as you call yourself, a water baby. And so the very first thing he wanted to do was put in a pool. So we put in a pool, but there was literally no way to get to the pool from the house. You had to go out the front door, down the driveway, and back to the pool. Or you could go through the basement. Like, there was just no way to have a pool party or anything like that. And so I mulled on it for several years because I really didn't want to go up. And I didn't want to expand our footprint really in the property because I like how much yard we have in the back, and you'll see that later. So I just brainstormed everything I could think of to not have to go up. And I couldn't come up with anything. So we ended up having to take one of the bedrooms and add it to the kitchen. And so it's sort of a keeping room. And then go up, and we put 2 bedrooms upstairs.
Yes.
So that's ultimately why we did it.
And at the time, you had 2 young sons.
Yes, little kids.
And now they've
flown the
coop,
right?
They're adults?
They were, gosh, how old were they? 20, they're 26 and 32 now. So they were 6 and whatever 6 plus 7 is, 13, something like that. So they were little. So we raised a family in this house. But before we did our renovation, because we ended up really doing the renovation right after our older son went to college. So he was, of course, I can't believe it. No, I've got this big room and I'm not here. Jacob gets everything. But that's how it works, you know.
It takes a lot of planning.
It takes a lot of planning, and you can afford more things as your children get older. I always say your 30s are the most expensive time of your life. I'm sorry, I didn't know this was going to be a counseling session, but you buy a house and you've got young children, you've got daycare, and you've got all those things. It's so expensive, and you're furnishing a house, and you're buying sofas and bedrooms. I mean, you're poor. Yeah. And, as they get older and you've bought things and you've established things, you have a little more money to do projects like that. And so that's, I think, why you end up doing things when kids leave for college. I can afford it now. But at the time, the sunroom was our family room. So all 4 of us, hung out there, watched TV, and, we used every inch of the space that we had. And when we renovated, it was my goal to still do that. I didn't want too much room. I wanted little nooks and crannies you could tuck yourself into, but then when you have a dinner party or you have a couple dozen people over, there's still opportunity for everyone to find a space to sit.
And you're always tinkering. You are. Well, you did your renovation, but then A couple years later, you did the guest bathroom. A couple years later, you did the basement. So
You do know all
then
about
a couple
me.
years later, you redid sort of the landscaping in the backyard. So you're always kind of chipping away at it and
Well, I
evolving
make a
things.
lot of mistakes. I'm not a designer. I'm not an interior decorator, and I'm not a landscape designer. I think we've redone the backyard 3 times. I've rearranged this room several times, tried things that didn't work, and lived with them and then rethought it. So that, I think, is a great lesson. Don't be afraid to try something. I have a fireplace right here, and there's kind of a nook next to it. And when I moved in, I just didn't know what I wanted, and I put a big bookshelf there, and that, and that requires tons of styling and da-da-da-da. And then I had a console and art, and what I really wanted was more seating. So I found 2 petite chairs and stuck them in there.
Yep.
So I think you have to live in a space and iterate in a space to really make it work for you. And I think what you need changes over time too. So what I needed when I had children in the house, I probably needed space for more books and things. But now I want to have space for people to sit and have a cocktail, or before or after dinner have dessert, or that kind of thing. So it just evolves, and that's not a mistake. I think it's fun. Right. And I also used to be much more afraid of color, and I wouldn't say it was because I preferred neutral. I think I was just afraid. I was nervous. I didn't really know. Like I said, I'm not a designer, so I didn't really know. Wasn't comfortable using it, and even in my wardrobe. So I think over the years, as my wardrobe's become a little more exploratory, I'm wearing pink. Like I never owned any pink, but I've delved into that a little bit more, and in my house as well. So I used to have all neutral drapery in here, and I recently was like, I just need a little bit of color. So I changed the drapery out, and just little things like that you can try and experiment with, and it's not a big investment, and keep the base as it is and zhuzh it with other stuff. So I've been exploring that a little bit too.
Let's talk about this room, because a room like this, so many people have, but it's very challenging, which is a living room that you walk straight into from the front door. There's no
foyer
entry. And like you said, this is your main living room. And so you're trying to pack a lot in. So talk to us about the layout, all the different maybe iterations you've tried, and kind of how you landed on what you thought was because you're trying to get to the sunroom. You've got lots of thoroughfares.
Yes, and I really struggled for many years, and I had a sofa this way in the room because I wanted to kind of make this room a room and pretend I had an entry, and it blocked it off. So I ended up with this, but I shoved a lot in here. So there are 4 chairs and a sofa and 2 ottomans in this not very large room. But I find that you don't need a ton of space to move around. I mean, you settle and you sit, and the coffee table needs to be close to the sofa and the chair so you can easily reach it. So I don't want big spaces either, between things. So I really shove things together tight. And it's it's not a grand house, and so I don't have the luxury of gobs of space. So I just put more in, and I think Bunny Williams is the one who said, like, you can fit way more than you think you can fit in a room. Like I bought this because I loved it. I had nowhere to put it, and I think I had it in a guest room, and then I was sitting out here one day, I'm like, I bet that would fit right there. I bet I could shove that in that corner, and I pulled it out here, and it did, and I love the height it brings, and you can put pretty things in there, and I just would never have thought, I need a bookcase in that corner, but you just try stuff and move things around your house. I do it all the time.
I always admire how efficient and how much you get into a room, but it doesn't ever feel overdone or full. You always come up with clever ways to place things. And so you're right, this room, there's so much seating.
Lots of lamps.
Lots of lighting, yes.
Yeah, I love a lot of lighting because it gives you freedom to light the room for the event. So you can make it really dim. I like a dimly lit room, especially in the evening when people are over. It just creates a beautiful mood. So all of the lamps have 15-watt bulbs, whatever the new, it's not watts anymore, but whatever it is.
Yeah,
it's probably 1 watt. I don't know. It says on the box, the equivalent. And 2700 Kelvin, ideally dimmers on things or adjustable switches so that you can get exactly what you like in the room. But this room has 4 lamps and 2 sconces. No, 5 lamps and 2 sconces, and it just gives you so much flexibility when you want to set a mood. Yeah. So I like a lot of lamps, but you're right. I really insist that the things in the house work hard. So if you look in my dining room, there's a cabinet in there, but I was thinking about it this morning. It fits my pressure cooker. Where are you going to put that huge, ginormous pressure cooker that I love and I use all the time? Air fryer, pressure cooker combo. And it fits perfectly in there. It holds a lot of trays. All of my votive candles go in there. But then if I'm having a party, I can make that the dessert buffet or put all the beverages there or whatever. So each room has to really work hard. Yeah. Each piece too. Like I sit here every morning, read my emails, do my news, drink my coffee, and this is the perfect spot because I put my feet up and I can look out the window and watch the neighbors, but they can't really see me. So it's
beautiful
perfect.
Morning light.
That's
in
right.
Here. Yeah.
It's quiet, it's peaceful.
Yeah.
And I think, surrounding yourself with pretty things makes you feel good. Mm-hmm. And thinking about when I sit here, what do I want to see? What do I want to look at? How does that function for me? Do I need a coaster? Do I not? All of that just makes your life nicer. Ultimately, and every little moment can be lovely.
Truly every nook you've made the most of and you've got little accents.
Probably too many.
No, and it's lovely and it's very welcoming. And I remember anyone who's a longtime listener of the podcast knows that we used to record here. Mm-hmm. And so we would come over after work, but you would always have all the lights dim, you'd have music playing, you'd have the table set with a pitcher of water. And so you are always, such a wonderful, welcoming hostess and really embody what you're talking about. And it sets a mood.
To be comfortable.
Yes.
And so you think about what will make them feel at ease. And I think music is a great way to do that too, because when I walk in a house and it's dead silent, I feel awkward. Same in restaurants. If you can't, I don't know, it feels weird and I don't like that. And so I always have a little bit of music playing in the background or a lot of music playing, depending on what it is. But I think it just makes it feel cozier and homier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Tell us about the sunroom, because you alluded to earlier that used to be your family room, mm-hmm. but now it's your office. So what are the many iterations of that room and how is it functioning as an office now?
We had that sofa. I've had that sofa since we moved into this house.
It's a big section over the chaise.
Yeah. And so, kids used to sleep on it all the time. There are glass doors to that room. And so I had some blinds made that roll down so you get privacy in there if you need, if it's a bedroom for someone who's staying over. But that was our family TV room. And I used to have a big trunk in there as our coffee table where all the blankets would go for the kids for sleepovers. And now that we don't have that anymore, I don't have to have that anymore. But then during COVID, we were all working from home. My husband, Joe, has an office upstairs. But I was here with my 2 kids and my older son's girlfriend, Robin, and we all were still working and doing school, and so we all had to find places around the house to work. And I started out in the dining room. People would walk through, and so I was like, I gotta find a spot where, because Joe famously one time walked into one of my calls shirtless. It was delightful. So I was like, you know what? I need somewhere where naked people won't walk into my work calls. So I moved out here, and I didn't really want to buy a desk or rethink the whole situation because it's pretty as is. And I also still wanted it to function as a pretty room for parties because it's still a room that's right out here in the middle of everything. And so you'll see, I have a beautiful console that's from Ballard, and I just got, because you have to think about your ergonomics, Caroline. So I just got a tray that clips onto it, so my keyboard sits, and it's just at the right height. And then I have all my screens and everything, and I look out into the pretty green backyard, and it works great for me.
You got a ring light?
I have a ring light, everything. I've got the whole setup. And I used one of my dining room chairs as my chair, and I don't have a particular desk chair because I kind of sit like this all day anyway, and so I don't have to have another chair, and it's great. And I love the light of the room. It just puts me in a good mood.
It's a nice background.
Mm-hmm. It is a nice background. People are always like, is that a fake background? No, it's my little sunroom.
You're also famously particular about cords.
Oh, my
So,
God, cord.
and I am always in awe of how well you hide cords. But I've never fully mastered it the way you have. So what
I
are
bet you
sort of
have.
your, like, talk to me about cords. What's the obsession with cords? And then what are your kind of go-to fixes for cords?
They're just ugly. They're not cute. So I don't want to look at them. So I really try to, like this one I can see, that bugs me. But I try to like pull it tight, stick it under a rug. Or, you can get those little cable organizers that you used to use for your coaxial cable along the bottom of your trim in your house, and you can like nail them in. They're just little plastic things with a little tiny nail. You can use it on the back of furniture. So I often, if I have an open console and a lamp on it in the middle, I'll just use that to kind of wire that cord along the back of the console. It just puts little tack size holes in there. It's no big deal. And then Suzanne Kassler is the one who told us that she often will cut like a little slit on the bottom of a rug.
Yeah.
And if you've got a lamp in the middle of a big space, like say if we had one here if this was a console or something, so you can run it down the console and then through the rug over to an outlet.
Yeah.
Because we don't have outlets in the middle of our floors.
Right.
And they can I just think they can ruin the look of a lot.
Right.
Like if you have a speaker up there on top, I don't want that cord like running down the whole back of that bookcase. It would ruin everything. So
Right.
you gotta tuck it over to the side.
What about in your desk? Because I feel like desks are really challenging because you have so many cords. I mean,
Well, I haven't
it's more than just one
practiced
lamp.
what I preach in there. I really kind of just shove it all at the end and try to cover it up with, I have a little ottoman I keep my feet on, and I try to kind of cover it up with that. I haven't done a great job. Let's not look too closely when
It's
we go in
hard
there,
'cause
okay?
there's more cords than usual. Yeah.
There's so many cords. So many cords. Computer and the ring light and the monitor, and I've got a lamp, of
You have to
course.
plug in your keyboard.
And I've got a
your
Dyson
charger.
fan and all the things.
All the things.
All the things.
Let's talk about the dining room. You are a big advocate for a round dining table, but you also have a topper that you add to make it a little bigger. You host a lot, you cook a lot. Outside of the practicality of a round table, what's sort of the love of entertaining and hosting meals?
I love to have people over, and I think it's because I'm controlling. Let's just be honest with ourselves. I'm a Taurus, and I was reading about this the other day. We are comfortable in our space, and we want you to come to us. So to me, having a dinner party is my ultimate control. I think I can pick the meal, I can have the people I want, I can do the lighting and have the music I want. And so, but I think there's nothing nicer than going to someone's home and being able to spend time with them. And I love being invited to other people's homes too. So if y'all want to invite me over, I'm happy to come. The round table I like because often I find when you're at a rectangular table, you just can't talk to the people at the other end, or someone can dominate everything and then nobody else really gets a chance to hear or speak. And so I have a table in my dining room that seats, I can fit 8 in there pretty comfortably. But I did want to be able to have seating for 12 for the holidays or bigger dinner parties or Mother's Day, that kind of thing. And so I had a girlfriend who told me she had a topper made for her dining room table, and it folds up. They're like that thick, and they fold up and go away, but they make them custom for your table, the size that you need, and it's magical. So it folds up,
Genius.
goes in the closet, unfolds, and just Google like table extender if you're looking for one. There's lots of options. And then I had a tablecloth made to go over that so you don't see it because it's not the prettiest.
It's like really thick cardboard, basically.
Yeah, with, like a faux leather on it. But they come in all kinds of colors, and I guess you could probably design one that didn't have to be covered up. But I have a big tablecloth that I use, and it's amazing. It's amazing because I don't want a table for 12 all the time because sometimes it's just me and Joe and, a couple people.
Right.
And so then you're like yelling across like a banquet table at someone. So I love having the more intimate size for everyday life, but then having the option to expand. And then I have the same thing for outside. I have...
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, I don't have round. So outside I have... we have Giardino folding tables at Ballard, and they are teak on the top, but they have an iron base that folds like a folding chair, but it's a table. And so I have 2 of those, and I put them together and make a big square. Or I'll do a long thing down the yard if you're having like a big kind of situation like that. But I love that. And then you can fit, same if it's Mother's Day and it's not 1,000 degrees in Atlanta, you can go outside and it's a beautiful day and shove everybody around that table. I mean, there's nothing better, I think, than having close quarters at a dining table. It's fun.
When you renovated, you redid the kitchen, which
it was so bad.
13 years ago, but it still has held up today.
Yes.
I mean, it looks, I visited 13 years ago and it looks virtually the same today. So talk me through how you planned the space, what you prioritized in there, and then the little keeping room off the kitchen was sort of a little bonus space that you got in the renovation. So talk me through that space too.
Yeah, so the kitchen before, it had an octagonal island.
Interesting.
It was
creative.
Really unattractive. It was a very unattractive kitchen. And it didn't function really well. And it also had like a table. It was cramped and not a lot of prep space. And so I did not know what I was doing. But I knew I wanted to have plenty of counter area to cook. I wanted to have a butcher block that I could literally chop on as countertop. Yep. So use a working butcher block. And I wanted that to age and, get that patina. I loved that idea. And I didn't have a ton of options of where things could go. So I just kind of practically went with, like, the refrigerator's going to have to go here in this space. And this is where my stove's going to have to go because I have 2 windows and I'm going to have a vent. What's that thing called? A vent.
Yeah.
So I just kind of went with the room that I had. And then I installed a very shallow cabinet that runs the whole length of the wall on the other side that stores all the plates and glasses and food pantry kind of situation. It's very simple. And I really only splurged on I don't even have backsplash on the working part of the kitchen. I have a tile backsplash on the storage side. And, oh my gosh, Caroline, when I got it, it's a chevron tile, and chevron was like having its day, and I was really worried that it was going to look really dated because, you don't want to do a fad.
Yeah.
But I thought it was the most beautiful tile, and I still really love it. You'll have to tell me later if you think it's bad and I need to get rid of it, but I think it's still very pretty.
No.
It's very neutral. It's gray and white. Again, afraid of color back in the day. But it all still functions really well. And it has really held up. I think if anyone who's a kitchen designer watches this, you'll be mortified. But I saw all IKEA cabinetry. And I used Caesar stone for the countertops. And, I think it all looks brand new. I've had to repaint the cabinet doors one time. And that's not bad after 13 years.
No.
It really has held up well. The cabinetry is, all the hinges are great. It's a really working kitchen, and it works well for us.
You've styled it. Everything is kind of very similar to how it was, and I do love the way you...
Do I need an update?
No, not at all. I mean that in that it has endured. The choices you made when you renovated have held up, both functionally, and they still look new. It hasn't worn, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And
I got a new refrigerator.
That's exciting.
I had a stainless steel refrigerator and I hated it. And I did get one of those white cafe refrigerators, which I think are so pretty.
Yep.
So I got that.
Well, I've always liked the way you style your kitchen because you do it with so much, you have a whimsical sort of take on it. You've got all of your cooking utensils and like a trophy. You have a little tongue spoon rest.
That broke. I don't have that anymore.
Oh, darn.
I know. It was a little Jonathan Adler. It was supposed to be an ashtray, but I used it as a spoon rest. But yeah, I love a little personality in things, something that's makes you grin or reminds you of a trip you took or something like that. I love to find little weirdo things and bring them home and tuck them in somewhere and just look at them. Right now I have in my kitchen, I'm obsessed with little tiny paintings. So I have one that's just right over the sink in the windowsill, and then I have just this little tiny metal thing with picks in it. I don't know, but it looks like bamboo, and I picked it up at a little French flea market, and I look at it and it's sweet, and it makes me happy.
Yeah.
It's not functional, but it's pretty.
You have little touches like that all throughout the house, and I love it. You've got a, funky little light by the front door. You always have sculpture, and the way you display them is so interesting. How do you think about displaying little things you brought home from your travels? Do you ever, how often are you rearranging? Do you find a spot and just let it sit? Do you ever worry about, get rid of everything and then pull it back out?
Well, the holidays are a good time to do that, right? You really kind of take a lot away, and it gives you a fresh chance when January rolls around to look at that pile of stuff and say, where do I want this? Do I really want all this? Or what did I even do with this before? How did it fit all this stuff in? But so, yeah, I do move things around. And, y'all coming over for this, I was moving things around. But generally, in my mind, I think of my kitchen as white things. And so when I'm out traveling, if I see something that's sculptural and pretty and a lighter color, I'm like, all right, I'll take that, and that'll find a home in the kitchen. Whereas, the sunroom out here or my guest room is more earthy and browns. And so when I find things that appeal to that palette or whatever, I try to shove them in there.
Okay.
So I really kind of group things by maybe their value.
Okay.
Not necessarily has to be white or dark, or not white or black, but the value of it I try to keep together. So everything here is, the books, all the dark books are at the bottom and the light books are at the top. And grouping things that way makes my eye feel good.
Talk to me about the keeping room, because that is such a comfortable little space, and that's sort of become almost your family room now with this little sectional and the Larkin chair. So, but I also know that you have made a lot of tweaks in there over the years.
Have I, Caroline? I'm trying to
Well,
think.
you had that beautiful fluted media cabinet that you added, and then you reupholstered the Larkin chair.
No, I got a new one.
You got a new one? Okay.
Yes, but the Larkin, okay, so, yeah, I mean...
Small tweaks. But...
Yes, we have a sectional in there, and, we're on it every day. And just like the sofa that you're on, this is Sunbrella fabric. That's a performance fabric, so I can unzip all the covers, wash them, put it back on. Because, again, a family lives here.
Right.
And my kids have pets they bring for, the holidays for weeks, and... I want them to be comfortable,
right? And
I want all my friends and their kids to feel comfortable and with their food, and you can eat on that sofa and whatever. But when we renovated that room, I really wanted it to feel very light, but I didn't want to see into my neighbor's yard. So I'm very close to my next door neighbor. This is an in-town neighborhood, so there's a driveway between our houses, and that's kind of it. Right. So I wanted to be thoughtful of that when selecting where the windows would go in the house, and I didn't want to be right up on top of someone's kitchen or whatever. And so I was worried it would be a dark room, and so that is why I put mirror. It sounds like Vegas, but it's not. I did big antique mirrors on the wall to kind of reflect the light, and then I put the largest windows I could in the back of that room.
Yep.
And it really makes, in the daytime, that room is just so lovely and light, and it's adjacent to the kitchen, and so the whole room feels very light. But then, and back to is everything in your house white? I do have a big zebra chair in there, and so I guess I'm not afraid of pattern. But again, that's Sunbrella fabric, and it has survived everything that my children and I have thrown at it.
Yeah.
So comfortable. But the great thing about that chair, which I will sing the praises of that chair to anyone who will listen, it's a rocker glider. It turns, and it's great for a nursery kind of situation. But that room is set up so that the chair can face the television or the chair can face the sofa. So if you're there with friends hanging out, not watching television, then it's oriented to the people. And then if we're all watching a movie together, the family, it can orient to the television, which is the hugest television. I'm embarrassed for y'all to show it. It is, Joe wants an even larger one, but we'd have to add on to the house. I don't know. He doesn't think it's big. It's 85 inches. It dominates the room, but whatever.
It's like you're in a movie theater.
Yeah, he's happy with it, and so I'm happy with it.
We kind of talked through all the main rooms, but then you also have 2 bedrooms and
On this level?
and a little powder room, which I have always loved your powder room. It
might need an update.
No, it doesn't. It's
doesn't?
fabulous.
Okay.
It's dark brown. Tell everybody.
It's purple.
It's purple.
It's like an aubergine color. And that color I picked.
Are you sure?
I think. We'll look at it together. I think so.
Okay.
I picked this color. I think the very first time I traveled to France for work. There's a store in Paris called Flamand, and it's a Belgian company. And they used to have a flower shop when you walked in, fresh flowers is sort of their entrance, and it was painted this dark purple color. And it was so gorgeous. It was, I loved it. And I was like, I gotta paint something this color. And so I came home and I painted that half bath, that dark, dark, dark purple. And it's very small, but I love it in there. I think maybe I need to wallpaper the ceiling or something. Something,
that'd be fun.
Right? Something in there. But it's cozy, but I still like it.
Well, the thing that's so pretty about it is that when you're walking down the hallway, if the door is open a crack, you can tell something pretty is in there, but because it's dark, you're kind of, it's mysterious, I guess. So it makes you kind of want to go.
And talk about shoving a lot in there. Like
You've decorated it. You've decorated it like it's any other room, which I think is the secret to your success.
Well, I think you always try to put like a little fresh flower in there if you're having people over, and like just something tiny on the sink, or I have a small table in there.
Yep.
With a candle and a little piece of art. I have art on the wall, and then I have a big leaner mirror, and I just put that in there. You don't see that while you're doing your business, okay? That's for when you walk in the room. It's in front of you, but you can like check your outfit before you leave.
Yeah.
And I owned it. I think Joe brought it to the marriage, the leaner mirror. I'm like, where's that gonna go? And I'm like, well, it's gonna go in the half bath.
Yeah.
And so
See,
it has stayed.
You always think of some clever place to put something.
Well, I mean, sometimes you just have to sit and think. And then, because things aren't always as their first intended life, right? Moving around.
You also love a deal, though. So
Love
you're
a
always
deal.
shopping for a deal.
Right, I do
And
love
that's
a deal.
see, if I'm out shopping and I see something that's a good deal, I'll talk myself out of it because I'm like, I have no place for it. But you will bring it home and you will find some place for it and it will look great.
Caroline, my problem is I can't measure. I cannot measure. And I make a lot of mistakes buying things because I can't measure. And so I have made more than one mistake. You can waste a lot of money trying to get a deal. And I have bought things that, like, where is this going? You know? But often I will gift things to friends too. Like if I find an amazing new coffee table, I'm all right. Then this old one's, who needs a coffee table? You know, and my sons have lots of friends who are dying to get any kind of furniture. And so sometimes I'll go to friends' houses and it's like a journey down memory lane. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I remember when I had that. But I mean, that I guess does help keep the place a little fresh. But I do love a deal. I love our clearance section. I'm always like, when we start new clearance, I'm in there looking around like, ooh, what do I need?
Well, a lot of good stuff goes to clearance.
Yeah.
Ballard, yeah.
And sometimes things you don't realize need to be judged. Like, oh, I really should update that bedding. Or that's an amazing lamp. Where can I shove another lamp? I feel like every room needs 22 lamps. I have my eye on a couple lamps right now, and I know your advice that you've given before is if you're going to buy a lamp, buy two.
Yes.
Even if you're only going to use one, because ultimately one day you're going to want to pair those lamps somewhere, maybe on bedsides or on a console. And so we have two of these lamps they're yellow, and I put those. And I have room for one somewhere that I think I'm gonna
take the other one to Florida.
Well, it's for
Oh,
Florida.
it's for Florida.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, see, so now I have another house I can fill up with stuff.
We'll come to a video of that one later.
Okay.
So, you have the powder room, and then you've got a guest room that we have talked about many times on the podcast, but it's a fabulous little spot. It used to be Jacob's room.
Yeah.
So tell everybody
I used to have
how
an
that came
IKEA
together.
loft bed in there that I built myself.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know
alone. I love to assemble IKEA stuff. I'm great at it. And so, I mean, but a loft bed by yourself is hard because you have to lift things up. I'm sure I had some gentleman in my family help me lift things up. But yeah, so that was Jacob's bedroom when he grew up as a kid. And then after we did the renovation, he moved upstairs and we made that into a guest room. But I'll say for the third time, I'm not a designer. I'm not an interior decorator. And so I don't have a lot of experience decorating a room from scratch. And I found that very intimidating. So, when we moved in here, we had a lot of things that we were bringing from our, two lives and combining. And I was editing, as I went.
Right.
And so having an empty room, I was confounded. I really didn't know where to start. I didn't know what palette I wanted or anything like that. And so I ended up, there's a Suzanne in there that Ballard had purchased on an antiquing trip. And so I purchased that and draped that over the headboard and really drew the whole palette from the room from that. Yeah. And talk about not knowing how to measure, Caroline. So I have had the wrong length drapes in there. 3 times I've bought the wrong length drape. And so finally I had one of them. I had my dry cleaner, my alterations lady, add some fabric at the bottom. It's a little janky, but it's fine. It's totally fine.
It looks intentional.
I'm broken with measurements. But but again, and so the room is pink, which
big departure for me.
Big
for
departure.
You, yeah.
It's sort of this really pale pink, but I love it. And then I put this ginormous light fixture in this tiny room. It breaks every rule of, I think, proportion, but I love that too. And so it's a great little guest room and has a sweet little ensuite bathroom that I redid, and it all looks cute together.
It looks
just
great.
Brown and pink.
It's fab.
Like
It's
us.
funny that you said earlier that you were scared of color, because I think of you as a real risk taker in your house. And granted, you do a lot of neutrals, but that light fixture or, the tiles you pick for the bathroom, you are not afraid to make a real statement. And where do you think that comes from?
I fall in love with items, I think. That particular light fixture, it was a Ballard fixture, and I loved it, and I had nowhere to put it. And it really was a dining room fixture, and I knew it wouldn't work in my dining room. It's big and black, and I thought it would be overpowering, and I'm like, I'm finding something. And so I was like, you know what? I think it'll work in there. And sometimes I'm really nervous that it's going to be a big mistake. An expensive mistake, or the kind that makes my husband insane because he's like, I had to hang that whole chandelier and now you hate it. What are you, crazy? But he's patient. But I'd say 95% of the time it works out just fine.
Yeah.
It works out well. You were mentioning that I have a house down in Florida, and that we've had that for just a few years, and I'm in the middle of, not even a few years, maybe a year, and I'm in the middle of, trying to decorate that too, and I bought a chandelier from Ballard, the Netta chandelier for that dining room, and
but huge.
It's huge. And I looked at your guide that you wrote about how big a chandelier should be, and it broke the rules a little bit. It's a little big for the room, but also I knew you see it right when you walk in the front door, and I thought it would really set the stage for the whole vibe of the place. And it's really beautiful sage green wooden balls. And I was really nervous. I was very nervous because it arrived and, Joe took it out of the box. That thing is huge. But the electrician came and hung it, and it is perfect. It is so perfect.
Oh,
it's beautiful, and it makes this gorgeous pattern on the ceiling, and it did exactly what I wanted.
It's a showstopper.
Uh-huh.
And
I like
what
a
is Joe
dramatic
think?
moment.
Yeah.
Oh, he loves it. He loves it. He likes a dramatic moment too. He appreciates something like that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I also love, speaking of light fixtures, the sort of octagonal, or they're probably more than like
Down the hallway?
they're not octagonal because there's many more sides than that, but
Yeah, like a globe,
geometric,
but geometric globes. Again, they were on Ballard clearance when I renovated the house, but I really liked them. And again, sort of first thing you see when you walk in the front door, because there's a long hallway in front of you, and there are 3 of them down the hallway. And they make a statement. And I like that they're a little bit modern and weird in an old bungalow. So it sort of sets the tone that this is a classic house, but there are going to be little edgy things in there too.
Yeah.
I love those lights.
They look
Still,
fabulous.
15 years later, I like them.
And they go with everything. I mean,
Yeah.
So walk us through the primary bedroom, because you have taken risks throughout. You've got neutrals, but you've got dark browns, you've got blacks, you've got like kind of every shade of neutral
lot of brown.
throughout the rest of the house. But in the bedroom, you've gone extremely quiet, and it's much more white, a little bit of like a sand color.
Yeah.
So what was kind of your vision in there? What were you looking for? And you have added a little bit of pattern. So talk to me about those.
I wanted an oasis. Again, I had very young children, and I haven't redecorated that room, in 13 years. I had very young children, and I wanted a place that was very serene. When we renovated, I had designed that room so that the bed faces out towards the backyard, and there's 2 double French doors, and I can lay in the bed with my tea and open the drapery and look out at the green of the backyard. And it's just so beautiful to me. I love that. And so I wanted that very peaceful environment. And I got a rug it's almost white. What a mistake. I mean, I didn't realize when I got it how light it was. And you put it down, you're like, wow, that's light. But it's been fine because
really only you and Joe were in
Joe
there.
and I are walking around in there barefoot. It's been fine. But I did paint the ceiling very, very dark gray, very dark, like a charcoal gray. And I don't know why. I think I wanted it to feel almost like night or something. And I have a ceiling fan in there, and I have had that painted the same color. Because Joe likes...
I've never even noticed there's a ceiling fan in there.
Yeah, he likes a fan on at night, and I'm always freezing, so I have a foot warmer, and I'm like bundled up in the bed, but he likes the fan on. But yeah, and there's a smoke alarm, painted that. You can't have all these like white blobs on your ceiling if you have a dark ceiling.
Right.
And so it's very serene. Now there is an antique in there that's dark brown wood. So but I think that adds a little energy and life.
Yeah.
So, but it's
And
mostly
I love
white.
the horizontal stripe curtain panels. They have just like a little bit of flair.
Those are Suzanne Kassler. Well, it's the same fabric as these 2 chairs over here. Because we sold it as drapery panels, and then we sold it by the yard, and so I used it to recover these chairs. But you'll notice in there that's very large. At the time, I was super into very hefty drapery hardware. I'm not really into that anymore, but I still have that in there and in here. In my living room, dining room, and my bedroom have very large drapery rods.
Yeah.
And I mean, I still like it, but I don't know that I would buy it again.
Right.
Now my drapery rods are all like a French return or something very simple. That item doesn't need to be the statement for me anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm not replacing them.
Well, I love, you have very, these beautiful sort of angel wings over the headboard. You kind of incorporated a lot of that sculpture. It's just sort of a quieter, more peaceful. And then you famously don't love family photos.
Right.
However, you do have a gallery wall of more personal touches.
Yeah, I love a gallery wall. I love how they can grow with your life and your experience and your travel. So you can start with, a few things, or you can start with things that maybe aren't as sentimental to you to kind of map out what you ultimately will have. Like I've done that in the basement. I went to IKEA and I got some things that I thought were cool, and I made a gallery wall, and then over time I've replaced the pieces in there with things from travel.
Yeah.
And so in my bedroom, everything on the wall is like black, white, and gold. So, but they're all very sentimental things. A few things that I'm pointing at Brian, who's our photographer. A few things that Brian shot and gave to me as gifts years ago are on the wall in there. A skyline of New York City, where my husband is from, that he had when we got married, is there. And then over time, as I've traveled, like there's some street art from an artist in New York that I put up, and it's just sort of grown and morphed, and it's very sentimental, but it's not family photos.
When you start a gallery wall, knowing that you're going to build it over time, do you start in the middle and work out? Do you kind of space things out?
I do. I start in the middle and I work out, and I usually start with the biggest thing. And kind of grow it from there. And the biggest thing doesn't have to be in the middle, but it could, be off center from the middle and kind of grow from there. And I like to incorporate different shapes. In that room, there's some round things. So a round mirror, a round piece of art, a round medallion plaque thing. That was my father's. And so I think adding things that are dimensional, or not just a piece of art, bracket. There's a bracket. Or, if you have a cool face mask, or I don't know, you could, a shadow box, anything that you can think of, stick on that wall.
Right. Anything is art.
Yes.
Really. Yeah.
Things that you'd love to look at.
Let's talk about the upstairs, because you have 2 guest rooms up there.
And an office.
And obviously bathrooms. That's where your boys were initially. So, how do you think about those spaces now that they're really more for guests?
I think, take Bunny Williams' advice and sleep in those rooms. Sleep in your guest rooms. And what's missing? What do you need? Often I'll find when I go to an Airbnb or something, there's literally nowhere to put your glass of water. There's nothing next to the table, to the bed, and it's just so impractical. Or not a lamp. How do I read, or how do I don't know, do anything? So, or where are you going to plug in your charger? If every outlet is stuck behind the back of the bed, guests are going to be frustrated. So go ahead and bring a cord around and put it there for them, or so it makes things easier. So that's how I think of those rooms, and making space for them, making space for the guests. So don't fill up every spot.
Closet.
Yeah, every closet or every surface. Less is more, I think, in a guest room space. And try to make things as intuitive as possible. Make sure you're logged into streaming so that they have something to watch. And things are, plenty of hangers. Make sure your pillows, you have some firm, you have some soft, all the things. Have layers for the bedding. Some people sleep hot, some people sleep cold.
Yeah.
I have a coffee bar in the one bedroom upstairs, and which I think is just, people don't always want to come down in the morning and chat. I don't. Don't come talk to me. So make things a little self-sufficient for them. Leave them some chocolates and leave them some waters and stuff like that. So, and check the toiletries in the shower. Is it empty? How many times have you been to somebody's house and you're in there and the soap's empty, or it's clogged, or there's not an extra toilet paper? Just all the little things like that. Just that same thing of thinking, putting yourself in the feet of the space of the guest. What will make them comfortable, and they don't have to come ask you. Do you have a hairdryer I can borrow?
Yeah.
And then we only have one tub. Okay, so I broke my rule about the resale. I did put a tub. We only have one tub in the house, and it's up in that upstairs primary. It's a beautiful tub, and I'm not a bather, but people do love it when they stay here. They love having that sort of luxurious little space. And again, I put a little table by the tub, because if you're in there, you might want your coffee, or you might want a glass of wine, or you might want to
put your book down.
Yeah. So think about those little things too.
Yeah. Let's talk about the pool. Okay, we haven't talked about the pool, or
the pool that started the whole thing.
Frenchies by the
waterfront.
Waterfront. Thank you. Okay, walk us down into the basement and talk through the basement and the pool.
Yeah, so the basement is the newest thing that we've done, and it was a few years ago. Joe wanted an Irish pub in the basement, and the basement was Joe's Irish.
An unusual request, for sure.
Yeah, and the basement was an unfinished basement. Part of it was dirt floor, part of it was cement, hit your head kind of on the ceiling. And so we didn't really use it for anything except storage. And Joe had a treadmill down there and worked out. And so he had this dream of making an Irish pub in the basement. And he also loves collecting wine. And so he wanted a wine cellar. And so I got to work with our room planner, with the Ballard Designs room planner. I laid out the whole thing and arranged and rearranged that space. And I also didn't want an Irish pub. But I did want something, I wanted something that he would love.
Right.
And we had been to this amazing little hotel bar in London. What was the name? Can you remember? The Ned, maybe? I think it was called. It was one of the Soho House properties.
Okay.
And the whole place was painted navy blue with brown leather furniture and just the coziest but sort of laid back space, but elegant. And I'm like, that's what we want. We want, it's adjacent to the pool, so it needs to be durable and flexible and fun, but it could still be pretty. But again, we've got like these low ceilings, and it's pretty janky. And so what I decided was I'm gonna paint the ceiling and the wall and everything, because we had duct work, painted all this blue. It's like a peacock blue and glossy. And I didn't, it's not like some professional high gloss, you know what I mean? It's like my brother-in-law with a brush painted that basement. It's imperfect for sure, but it just makes this mood. You walk in and you're like, wow, this is cool, and you feel super enveloped in it. And I put, I also use the color like a whiskey color. I was thinking that blue and those brown leathers, like that color would be really pretty together. And so I did a banquette in this beautiful golden velvet. I mismeasured again. I got the wrong size. I had to add a piece, order an extra piece.
Oh, I didn't know that
Worked
part of the
out
story.
fine.
Worked out
fine. I thought I was ordering 6 feet, and I was ordering 60 inches. Because, it's 6, Caroline, duh. But it worked out. But it's been it's amazing space. And there's, we have a little kitchen down there, because when we renovated up here, I had all those appliances, so I just moved them down. And it was great. And Joe has a gym where he works out every day and shames me. I can hear him down there on that treadmill, and I'm up here, he's doing it again. I should be down there, but I'm not. But most importantly, it goes right out to the pool.
Yes.
So it's the perfect entertaining space. It's cool in the summer because it's really a basement. Again, embracing the fact that there's not a ton of light, and I think painting the whole thing, that sort of envelope of a darker color, you're not fighting the light. So we're just going to embrace that it's not a super bright space, and it works. It works really well.
You definitely were not afraid of color when you did that.
I wasn't.
Space. Yeah.
I think observing places when you're out and about that make you feel good and that resonate with you, and then copying it. That's it's sort of my mantra. But I think you have to be observant when you are at restaurants or at hotels or at your friends' homes or at show houses or anything like that. What do I like about this? And try to break it down in your head. And you do that a lot on the podcast because you interview so many people, but you look at their work and then you're mentally breaking it down with them. How did you do that? And I think that really works so well if you take the time. People do it with outfits all the time. I follow lots of influencers that are like, I love this outfit. I'm going to break it down, and here's how you can recreate it with things in your closet. But it's the same with the room.
Yeah.
Find out what feels good to you in a space, and then figure out why. What are they doing that makes it feel good to you?
Yeah. And you have Rosé On Tap, which is...
I do have Rosé On Tap. Well, see, Joe wanted a keg.
Yeah.
And I, having traveled a lot in Italy for work, the gas stations in Italy have Prosecco and beer and Coca-Cola on tap. So you can fill up and get some Prosecco. I was like, well, if they can do it at the gas station, I can do it in my house. And so we got a double kegerator. And so one side's beer, and we ended up doing rosé on the other side instead of Prosecco.
Fabulous.
It's fun, right? It's a great summer, summer party.
I'm sure no one can say no if it's on tap. Because, you're always like, well, don't open a bottle.
Right?
But
we don't need that.
Open. It's fine.
Yeah. You have to watch how much, Did we drink that whole keg? No, but it's nice. It usually lasts like at least the summer.
And now you have two access points to the pool. So you know.
We built a deck and
fixed all that,
stairs,
yeah.
and you can go through the basement as well.
Yeah. Talk to us about the pool, because you have changed things. You know, you have the pool and you've had that for many years, but you've evolved the landscaping.
Yeah, we used to have a gazebo out there in the backyard. When we first put in the pool, we built a gazebo, and I put a sectional, Suzanne Kessler Director sectional in there. And
That you still have.
I still have it. And no one sat in there. And again, I was like, okay, sometimes for parties, but for parties, I would put the bar in there. But when we were hanging out, nobody ever hung out in there. It was a little bit too far from the pool. It just wasn't right. And so eventually we ripped that down and kind of reconfigured the backyard, the way the stairs go to the backyard. The stairs used to have to go out and down the side, and kind of landed you in this odd space. So we ended up reconfiguring where the stairs go with the help of your husband, Will, who's a landscape architect. It was all his plan and idea, and it was great. So you kind of walk right out the kitchen, across the deck, and you go down, and you really land in grass, and then the pool's to your left. But the pool isn't huge. It's 12 by 24, but it's just the right size to get in and cool off, and kids can play and splash, and we've got a basketball hoop, and it really is just like the house, built for family living and fun. You know, we've got a big Jenga, we've got a dartboard, we've got the ring game, we've got cornhole. So I wanted a fountain, and that has been a nightmare because I designed it and then it didn't work, and my poor friend who was designing it and building it, he was ripping his hair out. So we've had many iterations. So it sort of is a fountain, and sometimes we turn it on. But it's cute.
Yeah. It's a good focal point.
It's good for
You've
parties.
grown your jasmine up the fence.
Yes.
It looks so nice. And
grown my jasmine up the fence. I've got peonies. I love peonies, so I've got those out there. I recently planted a tree because, like I said, our neighbors are one driveway away.
Yeah.
And when we're down in the pool area, I just don't want to see anybody, and I don't want them seeing me. And so there was one little stairwell where they'll go down to their pool, and if we're in the pool, they could see us, and you kind of feel obligated. Hi, and I don't want them to feel like they have to be like, hey. So I planted this very strategic tree that's growing up. It's tall and skinny, and it'll just, when you're in the pool, it just blocks that one little view. So but it takes years. It takes a long time to tweak.
You have to be patient.
You have to be patient with yourself, with your landscape, with your stuff. It's okay. It's never going to be perfect, and it's fun. It should be fun. We always say that at work, right? It should be fun. We are making beautiful things for people to live with, and that should be fun.
Yeah. Well, you have certainly made it beautiful, and I always am, it hasn't changed that much. The years that it's familiar, but it's always like you're always tweaking and making things better in little ways all the time. And I think that probably is the secret.
Yeah. I think it's because I just keep falling in love with things.
Yeah.
And so, got to find a home. And, sometimes things have to leave, and that's okay.
Yeah.
They'll have a new home.
Somewhere else. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having us. Such a treat to get to share it with our audience, and for you to share the journey that you've been on here in your little in-town bungalow.
It's not over yet. Thanks for coming.
For more conversations like this one, be sure to subscribe to the Ballard Designs How to Decorate podcast, and never miss a house tour episode by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.